A little bit of a contract, right? But anyway, they are those names. They're those names that your grandmother gave you when you was first born. That all the people in your neighborhood, family and neighborhood, know you by. Right? I don't know if you've ever been there, but you run into somebody from your old school, and they say to you, "Hey," and you look around to see if anybody else is listening or earshot before you answer them. Anybody ever been there? So as I said before, excuse me because I wrote this stuff down and I didn't memorize it like I usually do. Okay? Yeah. Now, everybody's walk with God is different, but yet it's the same. God sends you in and brings you through, right? The situations of life. Amen. Okay? I would like to talk to you about some of the names of God. First of all, I want to tell you a little story. The people, when I grew up, there were a lot of beautiful women in my neighborhood, which I did not associate with them as girlfriends. Okay? Because for some reason or another, neighborhood girls get passed around. If you know what I mean. Okay? So I would go out of my neighborhood a lot. There was a neighborhood governed by a group called the Corsairs. I lived in an area, that was governed by the chaplains. They kept asking me to join, but I kept telling them I'm not a joiner. I'm a loner. Okay? So, I was going out with a girl in another neighborhood, and I got a free pass, okay? Because her sister was used to go out with the gang leader. There were some people in that gang that didn't appreciate that. So but they went along with it because he said so. The leader of the gang said told him that. Okay? Now, one day I was up there out of character because one of my schoolmates lived in that neighborhood, which I didn't know, and I was walking her home, and there was some of the gang members saw me, after I walked her home, and decided that I really didn't belong in that neighborhood. Okay? So I found myself kind of trapped between a church and some brick steps, okay? With about 30 people facing me. There was one guy on my left side, and I hit him because, hey, listen, if I go down, I gotta take some collateral damage with me. Anyway, I hit him and he backed up this far. And let me tell you, I was 2 sheets in the wind. That's a nautical term for full speed ahead. Anyway, so I proceeded to head. There's a street called Atlantic Avenue, and it's just like Northside Drive. A six-lane street. In New York, let me tell you how to do things. As the light starts to change, the cars, before the light changes, as it starts to change, the cars start to roll. Okay? So anyway, I'm making my way down the block because I got one New York City block and five short blocks to go. So I got to step with it. Now, there's a funny thing about running track. I ran track in high school. And the guy behind me must have ran track too. But the thing is, the thing about running track, which may be a lesson in here for you, is that if you match the steps of the guy in front of you, you can catch it. Okay? Why? Because subconsciously he doesn't hear you, so he doesn't know. He stops realizing that you're there. So I would say to you as a little small lesson here that if you try to match the steps of God, that He'll pour you out a blessing that you not have room enough to receive. that it will come upon you and overtake you. Okay? Now, anyway, I'm heading for Atlantic Avenue. The light's changing. Okay? I step into the street, and as I step into the street, because this guy's 2 steps behind me, or a step and a half behind me. No? As I step into the street, the cars close up behind me. Right? All 6 lanes. So therefore I'm safe now, because I'm home. I'm on the other side of Atlantic Avenue. And nobody on this side of Atlantic Avenue is going to cross on that side of Atlantic Avenue. Okay? Now, I like to talk with you about Genesis. Sorry, I thought I had it organized, but I don't. Anyway, praise God. There's a story in the Bible which everybody is very familiar with. It's the story of Abraham and Isaac. Right? Where Abraham, God told Abraham to sacrifice his son, his only son. Right? And Abraham, being an obedient student of God, he took his son and the buckles for the fire and the fuel, and he took him up to the mountain. He took him up to the mountain. And his son said to him, "Father, I see the fire. I see the wood for the sacrifice. But where is the sacrifice?" Okay? And Abraham said to him, "God himself will provide the sacrifice for you." And as Abraham took his hand to make his son a sacrifice, an angel said to him, "Touch not thy son, or do him no harm." For and as he looked over his shoulder, he saw a ram caught in the bush. And Abraham said, "I shall call this place Jehovah Jireh. The Lord is my provider." Now, I'd like to say a few things to you about. I'm sorry. Okay. Amen. Kind of going back a little bit to that story I was telling you about the chase on Atlantic Avenue. Right? In Exodus, anyway, we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. I thought I had it organized, I don't, but we'll still get it done. Amen. In Exodus